So when we look at the web, and we specifically look at where is the growth, we look at small and medium-sized enterprises as well. And they've experienced annual growth rate of about 10% over the last 3 years for G7 countries. That compares to only 1.6% for the rest. 20% average annual growth rate over the last 2 years for BRICS, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, Mexico, countries on average, at 5.84% GDP. So here's a slide from my client, and those are 4 companies, and they're all billion-dollar-plus companies. And you see that 4 companies have grown consistently over that period of over 10 years. One company, which is my client, which is when they called me, did not grow. And the difference between those is the ones that grow, they had international business activities on the web. The one that did not grow was domestic only. So in order to benefit from that trend, benefit from globalization, there are 4 trends in the web that I see with regard to localization that both as a buyer and as a provider of services you need to be aware of. Those are the virtualization of business, the power of the end user, access over ownership, and content aggregation. And I will go through what that means in more detail. Here's a typical translation technology IT architecture, the way I implemented it 10 years ago. That was heavy. That was a $1 million 3-year implementation plan, because we did not have the technology or the internet and internet access worldwide, because we all had to do that ourselves behind our firewall. $1 million, 3 years. Now, it takes me a sign up to a service, and I can globalize my entire website, have a workflow system, have a centralized translation management system, have a worldwide team that can review a website in context. If you're an LSP, you run your own business, you don't need the same way, you don't even need your own service anymore. Here's an example of a company that I use for my business. You can start for $50 a month. You can have first-class server technology, internet service, and technical support to run your company. $50 a month. I pay a little bit more, but that's all that's required to get started. You can start your own company with a full set of technology and services from your couch. And if you did that and you wanted to add technology, a software on it, here's a selection of software that helps you collaborate worldwide for free. Skype, you can telephone, communicate with an entire team, your freelancers, your vendors, your partners, for free, on video. If you need a project management tool, there's a Project Open, which is a fully integratable project management tool for free. And then we have Global Site. If you want a top-of-the-line translation management system that otherwise would cost you $150,000 or $200,000, you can go to globalsite.com, download it for free, and have it run within a day. So if you're a small LSP, to say you don't have the money to invest in technology anymore, it's not an argument anymore. It's an attitude question, because everything is available to you, to us, right now, for a fraction of what it cost 10 years ago. Then also you have services like here's my MyGengo, where if you want to use crowdsource and use translators, you don't have access to it, you can sign up to it, and you have access to a worldwide group of translators. So the second trend is the power of end user. Here's a screenshot of a project management tool that one of my clients uses. And it's web-based, everybody in the world can access it right away. And you will see here's like that's the project management screen, and you see right away what are the projects that are in my pipeline, where are they, what are my tasks, what are the discussions, what are the alerts, which projects are overdue, and then you can dig deeper into it. All right? So, and everybody in that organization, worldwide, in all the regions, plug into the system, get their content from their system. But what they also do is they rate the translations that they're reading. It's the end user, the end client that's rating the translation. It's not the one reviewer that says, oh, this is a good translation. I think your terminology should be this and that. It's not the LSP. It's the ones that, it's the application engineer that sits in front of a machine that says, you know, I need to service this machine now, and the translation isn't great. So I cannot do my job. It's not the linguist. It's the end user who judges it. Here's an example of one of the vendors, actually, the Chinese vendor ECI Translation, and you see there were like about 140 reviews of end users, and this company, EC Innovation, received the highest ranking of all the vendors in the system. Right, so it's not the project manager anymore or the translation manager anymore who decides whether or not ECI, in this case, did a good job. It's the end users that work with the documents on a regular basis that feed back to the system. So when I'm the next person within that company, I'm looking for a translation service. I look at the ratings, right? And I see, okay, here are all the departments down there, all the departments that rated it, that worked with it. Here are the subject matter expertise, and here's the rating and the number of reviews. So it's democratic right now. It's really like the end user determines who does a good job. Has some challenges. Here's the website Glassdoor.com. So where the employees of companies rate the quality of the workplace. So and they also have job listings there. So if you look for a job, you can see how their employees rated the satisfaction with the company in real time. So if you're in the market for employment, to employ people, and the best people will look at that site and they would say, wait a minute, I can choose a company where everybody's happy, or I can choose a company where everybody's miserable. What do you think I'm going to do? Access over ownership. We would see that what the web brings, that sharing knowledge and assets is more important than owning them. If you have a translation memory, it's useless if you don't share it with as many people as possible, if you keep it for yourself. Owning it is not important. Sharing, having access to it. And also we have House, one of the sponsors. You can go there, that's like the screenshot that we see is for free. It's a service for free. You can go there, research your terminology, you can share your data, you can see how other people have, other companies have translated, and there are a few billion of segments that you can use. So the more the segments are in there, the more you use it, the more people share it, the more valuable the translation memory. In my own business, which is training, we have the same thing because users, our users or students, they don't go to just one system, right? They use a number of different media to get there. They use their smartphone, their iPad, their tablets, they use their Android phones, iPhones, computers, laptops, they read normal books. So they use a number of media, they use a number of formats, right? They go, in old times when you had a learning management system, you would measure within your system, okay, how many modules in my training system has the student taken, and how many tests has it taken, and what are the scores. But today we have a time where you go to a video service and you watch a video. Is that part of learning? Yes. You go to a website, you read a white paper, you read a page. Is that part of learning? Yes. You read a book. Is that part of learning? Yes. You see a TV documentary. Is that part of learning? Yes. The challenge there is all of those different ways of learning and having access to information need to be captured in order to assess a student. And the last, and that kind of ties into content aggregation. Here you see, actually I took that screenshot yesterday from the World Bank, so it's very recent. And when you look at it, here you see up here, this here is actually content that is not even housed on the World Bank site. It comes from doingbusiness.org. If you click on that picture, you get to doingbusiness.org, actually away from the website. Then here you have all the social media integration. And when you click on them, these companies, it's not just like a page or like follow us. They have pictures there, they have like unique content that doesn't really fit into the website, but it's very valuable for the user. So there's they have their own presence in all of those services. So if you're a localization services provider and you want to be in web translation, it's not enough anymore to know about coding and the structure of HTML or XML. It is important to understand where these different pieces of content come from, and what the unique features are of those sites, and also understand that very often you don't have control over what is translated on those sites because they're technically not owned by the owner of the website. And I guess the message today is when you look at embrace change. And unfortunately, change doesn't come easy to our industry. And I have a brief timeline on, you can call it the resistance of change, or you can call it, the progression of the industry, depending on where you come from. So in the 1950s, and some of you don't even know anymore what I'm talking about, anyway. So in the 1950s, it was the dictaphone. Right? Translators they used the dictaphone. Translators fought it, they hated it. In the 1970s, it was the WAN computers. Translators hated it, they fought it for 10 years. In the 1980s, it was the personal computers. Translators hated it, fought it, because they said, well, I think the keyboard actually is a killer to productivity. Why can't we use the dictaphone anymore that we fought 20 years ago? Right? In the 1990s, it was translation memory. So, it's like it kills productivity, it kills creativity, and so on. In 2000, it was machine translation. Right? Today, machine translation is good enough that I can walk around Shanghai with my iPhone, and I can speak into it in English, hold it to somebody's ear, and it will translate into Chinese what I said. Maybe not totally correct, but good enough that I can find my way home. Or buy something. And now it's all the cloud services, the web that I mentioned. It's like you don't, as a translator, you don't get a single entity anymore. You don't get a whole website in context. You need to be very, very professional in understanding all the media and different services that plug into a website. And so what that led is like, in 1960s, the average productivity of a translator was 300 words per day. Today, it's 30,000 per day. And there's this famous quote by the former president of the American Translation Association, who said, I just completed about 35,000 words project in 10 hours without having much of anything in the pre-existing translation memory. That's the times where we live today, and that's the change that technology has brought, and I hope you embrace change. Here's a little bit of self-promotion. Here are some free webinars that you can, from business owners, from people that are in digital marketing. They're representatives of billion dollar plus companies that will share their experiences to localization and digital marketing and web. And if you have any questions, want to follow up, here's my contact data, and I thank you very much for your attention.